What's up with privacy? Immigrants' personal data is being sold to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency of the United States, ICE. Hi, my name is Desiree, this is my channel Ramble, and this is part of a video series I'm doing on privacy as part of the work that I do with Particl, a privacy platform that is built on the blockchain. There's a company called Thomson Reuters that has a contract with ICE to hand over personal data of immigrants or potential immigrants that are crossing the border into the United States. So let's have a look at this article by Privacy International. Published on June 21, 2018, it says, documentation shows that Thomson Reuters Corporation is selling access to highly sensitive and personal data to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, the authority responsible for implementing the U.S. government's zero-tolerance immigration policy, including the separation of families and indefinite detention. I may or may not agree with Privacy International's opinion on the politics of the issue, but I definitely agree that an individual's right to privacy should be respected if at all possible, especially with the focus on individual rights. So what kind of data exactly are they accessing? According to Privacy International, they are accessing something from the West Publishing Corporation, a subsidiary of Thomson Reuters, and doing that through something called the CLARE system, which stands for Consolidated Lead Evaluation and Reporting. This must be some sort of product that they provide within their company. And this gives ICE access to, in quotes, a vast collection of public and proprietary records, including phone records, consumer and credit bureau data, healthcare provider content, utilities data, DMV records, world check listing, business data, data from social networks and chat rooms, and live access to more than 7 billion license plate detections. They are also able to securely process and return aliens' information and addresses using the following types of specified data: FBI numbers, state identification numbers, real-time jail booking data, credit history, insurance claims, phone number account information, wireless phone accounts, wire transfer data, driver's license information, vehicle registration information, property information, payday loan information, public court records, incarceration data, employment address data, individual taxpayer identification number data, and employer records. When I list all that information out, that might sound like I'm just reading a medical report or some sort of information that you're kind of detached from, but I immediately would like you to think of your own personal data that you give away when you access certain services. Because that's what's happening here. These companies like Thomson Reuters are able to access the data from aggregating information that was provided at different locations, different points in times that was not meant to be used in this particular way. Now, I don't think this is any different from Facebook selling your personal data. I don't think this issue has to be made into a political one, but can be made into an individual's right to privacy issue. There are some interesting questions to ask, such as for information like taxpayer identification number. That's something that no one has control over, because that's part of the background agreement of being in societies, that you commit these things and you have to provide that information over, and then one government can get the information from the other government if they ask. However, there are other services such as payday loan services where you don't give that information up for that purpose, one, but also you voluntarily give that information up, and you may not read the fine print that says that this information may be sold later on at another point in time. So I think there is some responsibility there on the consumer as well. And then there's the issue of, is a person not considered a person anymore because they have committed a certain crime? So if you just think about prisoners, forget about immigration, do prisoners have access to their own personal data, and do they have any control over what happens with it? And then it can go even further, because you can think about someone being potentially having committed a crime, has not yet committed a crime. But I personally don't want to draw the line between whose information is more important than somebody else's information, but want to focus on the fact that privacy is a fundamental human right. This is something that I have detailed in other videos, and it has to do with our property ownership over ourselves. Another interesting question to ask is, does having this information help ICE to do its job? Or do they need to have this information in order to do their job? Do they have to violate these certain rights in order for that job to be done? I think the answer to that question is yes, it does help them, but no, they don't necessarily have to do that. Again, I may or may not agree with Privacy International's politics on the issue. What I really want to stress, however, is that we can create technology that does not make this have to happen. For something like information you have to give to the government, such as your tax identification number that's created for you, that you may not have so much control over. But for one, you can choose not to use services that you know will give away your personal information, such as Facebook. You can try and pay attention and read the fine print. More realistically, because you might depend on certain services, you can use government law in order to stop companies from using your data in a way that you do not agree with. However, what happens when it's the government that needs that data? I think the best solution is to create technology where we no longer need to trust in these institutions, whether private institutions or public, such as government institutions, in order to protect our own identity. One such way of doing this is using technologies that are built upon the blockchain that are more decentralized and may have privacy features that allow the storage of information and the ability to track where it goes when. As a reminder, this series is to highlight the fact that we now have the power to build that technology using blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and I am a particular fan of the Particl project, which has built a privacy platform that is focused on solving these issues. Thank you guys so much for watching. As usual, all opinions are my own. I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.